The decision of when and where to get married did not take us long, but didn't leave us with much time to prepare. At the start of the year, we couldn't contemplate a wedding with a new baby in the mix. Our entire focus was on her and adjusting into our new role as parents. But around May, about 9 months after our daughter was born, we started thinking just maybe we could. Of course, we wanted to get married at the start of spring, before the hot weather and the flies, and whilst the wildflowers were in full bloom, which meant here in the Southern Hemisphere, we only had 3 months. We'd found the perfect venue around 20 minutes from our home, a small historic timber mill town nestled in the forest that has been converted into budget-friendly family holiday accommodation. We wanted all our guests to be able to bring their children and have the option to stay at the village for the weekend, and this place fit the bill. There was an old workers' club built in the 1950s that we could hire for a small fee to host the reception, with all the facilities we needed to feed, water, and entertain everyone. And so, with much excitement, the invitations were sent and the wedding was on. If you have been following us for a while, it will come as no surprise that we wanted our wedding to be a do-it-yourself affair. We had no time to waste. First things first was to visit our friends Beck and Sean at Ladycroft Orchard to press 60 litres of apple juice to make cider with some sweet late season apples. We'd made 60 litres of delicious cider the previous autumn using the apples from the same orchard, with the intention of aging and drinking it at our wedding. But we ended up drinking that cider in the summer as we thought the wedding wasn't going to be on. Last year's batch was made with a domestic electric juicer. But this year we borrowed our friends, Jeff and Michelle's press to extract the juice using the traditional method. That first taste of freshly pressed juice, it was so sweet, and the excited anticipation about how delicious our wedding cider was going to be had begun. Not only that, but whilst hard at work, we chatted with Beck and Sean, and they agreed to let us have our ceremony by their Carry Tree Frame Lake, only 15 minutes away from the village. And we couldn't think of a more beautiful or picturesque place to be married. Curating the food and planning the menu was a highlight of organising our wedding. This was the first and probably the last time in our lives that we will have all our closest friends and family together in the one place, and we wanted to honour that by treating them to a homegrown feast. After 2 years raising pastured pigs and turning them into our own gourmet food, we were prepared to put together a bountiful dinner for our nearest and dearest, showcasing our pigs with delicious side dishes to be prepared by some of our guests. We had 2 young pigs born in March from our last litter of piglets that we invited to join us at the wedding feast. But before that, it was plenty of treats for them, with lots of grass and forage in the pasture. 1 pig was to be put on the spit and another slow roasted in an outdoor oven, both of which we were able to hire locally. We were grateful to the many talented family members and friends who could assist with the wedding preparations. From my parents, who were involved with almost every aspect as soon as we set the date, including tasting and purchasing all the beautiful wine and champagne for the wedding, To my brothers, extended family and mates who worked tirelessly on the day to oversee and prepare the meat, right up until the meals were served on the table at the reception that night. That first taste, once I had it on my plate sitting down at the bridal table, I just remember thinking, wow, we really nailed this one. It's just so delicious. My cousins set up a magnificent fire and they cooked pastured lamb that guests could see cooking on their arrival to the reception. They also worked tirelessly to get the fire smoke and tender meat on the table for everyone at the reception. Friends and aunties prepared mountains of chunky potatoes Dauphinoise with my favourite local Prince of Orange potatoes, using our very simple family recipe. My dad brought back wild smoked Canadian salmon from a recent fly fishing trip, and my mum slow cooked forest mushrooms for canapés before dinner. Some local ladies from our community volunteered their time in the kitchen, behind the bar and as servers, in return for a donation to their arts hub. It felt so special to be able to support such a good cause on our wedding. We'd spent the days prior foraging spring flowers and foliage together. I wanted flowers at our wedding, but I wanted them to be wild or homegrown. In the end, we foraged almost everything, purchasing a few bunches of lilies for urn arrangements, and some locally grown flowers for my bouquet. Some guests brought down sweet scented roses from a friend's garden in Perth, so we had beautiful pops of colour throughout the venue. Another couple brought us more stunning blossom branches that were used as feature pieces hanging from the walls and curtain rails. Our friends did an incredible job of arranging it all on the day, whilst I was running about trying to coordinate everything. I was thankful when I could slow down and arrange my bridal bouquet of fragrant jasmine and anemone later that morning before going home to get ready for the ceremony. My florist friend Zoe from Farmhouse Flowers gifted us some of her leftover foliage and also crafted the stunning wildflower headpieces for both me and my flower girls. I feel so honoured to now officially be a part of Troy's incredibly talented family. His niece Minnie did my makeup, his sister Francine did my hair, his other sister Rebel was our master of ceremonies on the night, and his mother Sandra tailored for me the most elegant two-piece wedding dress of ivory silk. Of course, not everything we prepared for the wedding entirely went to plan.
Okay everyone, we are here at the scene of a crisis. Pascal's laughing now, so it's not too bad.
I was a bit sad this morning.
She was a bit sad this morning. So our lovely ham that I I took time butchering, and then Pascal took time putting in the brine. She got everything just perfect. And then I smoked all day while I was doing some boat building. I would run back and forward. We got the smoking just right. We had to go and use my sister's oven to actually bake it, so we sort of left it there. We're going about our business. We're really busy at the moment. We're doing some part-time work, making ends meet, helping friends out, doing all that sort of stuff. Her oven is what we've been using to do suckling pigs in the past, so I felt confident just to put a meat probe in there. It's an automatic oven, and when the internal temperature was to get to 68, then the oven shut down. But my sister got back. She was going to look after the pork. She got back from doing her duties. She looked in there and she said, "Oh my God, it's really, really cooked." So this skin is not actually burnt, and you can see that we've had to try that. It's not actually burnt, but the presentation is poor. So what Pascal wanted for our wedding was this thing to be glazed, presented, and drunks at midnight could just help themselves with just big slabs of ham. I'm being a bit cynical there, aren't I? No, she wanted it nicely presented, so the guests, all very respectable, we only hang around with the best people, would help themselves to delicate slivers of ham. So now what we've decided is we're going to take the skin off, save that as crackling. It's absolutely delicious. And now I'm going to just carve this off the bone here, and we're actually going to take it to the wedding and serve it up with a meat slicer there. So
hopefully it's not too dry. That's my concern.
Pascal's worried about the dryness.
It probably will be alright.
I think it's just on the outside, but this was already dry from when I was smoking it.
Yep.
But I think once we get into this, Pascal will be alright.
Yeah, and I think it would have actually been less dry and would have done a lot better if it had been covered in foil or covered in something in the oven, but it wasn't dried out in the oven.
I was in charge of all this, so I've nearly made my fiancée, soon-to-be wife, cry. The other sad thing is the amount of fat that's in this tray. Now we'll salvage this and we'll use it for everything from slathering on homemade bread to cooking with. So that's not going to waste, but Pascal wanted that fat inside the skin, so we had a nice moist ham. Let's cut into it. Let's see
what it's like.
See what I've done. I'm trying.
All is not lost.
I'm trying to control brush fires here in the family home. Pascal actually did have a few tears. She cares that much about good food and its presentation to people.
Oh, it's just a lot of effort, and then. Yeah.
It wasn't just that. We do a lot of effort, and it doesn't make you cry about other things. This is.
I didn't cry. I was just.
You had a tear in your eye.
Oh. It's been a big day.
It's been a big week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get this.
That's nice. That stuff.
This crackling is amazing.
Yeah. It's not like fluffy crackling, but it's crispy skin.
Yeah.
I would cut it instead of ripping it. Oh yeah. See, that's fine there.
There's a lot of fat left in there, Pascal. I think this is going to be okay.
Okay.
So I might just try and follow the bone.
Yep.
And try and take, because that's that bit.
Yep. And then whatever we can. We want to cut it just to size to fit on the meat slicer and the biggest vacuum seal bag.
Well, at the moment, I'm going to try and excavate it off the bone.
Oh, and then you'll cut it to size, yeah.
Let's see if this pulls away now.
Oh, well done.
Is that all right? That gives you a good look at the inside anyway. That looks really well done.
Well, it looks almost a bit raw, but that's okay. Because you had the probe right in at the... Huh?
I would say that that's thoroughly cooked.
Mm.
So that looks pretty nice actually. For a bone out. You'll get a lot of slices out of that piece.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's good.
That does fit.
Yeah. Okay, let's try and get that in back.
We could probably slice it a bit thinner than that on the day.
Yeah, I think so. It's quite thick.
That's beautiful. It's like hamster.
Our chunks of ham were vacuum sealed and frozen, ready to come out the day before for slicing at the wedding. In the end, everyone ate so well at dinner, with a cheese and dessert buffet to follow, that we didn't need to pull out the ham at midnight anyway. We wanted our wedding to be rustic, working with what we had available to us at no cost. One of the blue gum logs from a tree that we felled when we first arrived made up the platters for our charcuterie boards. There were ample plates and glasses that came with the venue, and we borrowed a lot of serving ware from my family, making up the difference by hiring locally and purchasing some basic items. Whilst we didn't know it at the time, the giant prosciutto that we put down on salt the year before, and that had been hanging under Troy's sister's place and then in our charcuterie fridge in the shed, was to have pride of place on our charcuterie boards. We would have preferred it to age longer, but when we removed the meat from the bone, we were pleased with our product and the flavour was second to none. A salty, sour funk that's only possible after year-long aging. After our failed attempt at making salamis in our first winter here, in June, after some more research, reading and consulting with other salami makers, we tried again at making our own. This time we chose lean meat and started the mixture with finely diced back fat. We seasoned with salt, pepper, lactobacillus culture, pink salt, garlic, our own homegrown wild fennel seeds, and a lot of chilled red wine, loosely following a recipe from an old faithful, the River Cottage cookbook. After 6 weeks hanging, they came up perfect, and another welcome addition to our ramshackle ranch charcuterie board. Towards the end of the season, our friends Scott and Leanne at Millgrove kindly gave us a whole stash of truffles for me to cut up and turn into truffle butter. The butter was weighed into portions, then rolled into logs, which were frozen ready for the feast. It was served alongside another log of grass-fed butter, studded with flaky sea salt that I prepared the week before. We'd ordered artisanal sourdough country roll rounds that stood pretty on their own table, ready to be broken and passed around as guests took their seats. In addition to our cider, which we were pretty pleased with at racking time, I'd asked some friends and family to help out making cocktails during the night, which was a big success. We also had 3 kegs of beer brewed for us by our friend Matt, but with all the other alcohol on offer, we only got through half of them, despite the beer being incredibly tasty. There's something special about everyone you love coming together to contribute to make our day so magical. It sounds cliche, but the whole day felt like a dream. From the stunning ceremony at Lady Croft Orchard, where we had friends loan and set up their stretcher tent, our friend Monica marry us as our celebrant, and the custom arbour constructed by more talented friends that morning, to the gorgeous vintage FJ Holden, owned by our mate Scotty, who drove us on the day. With the fire going and the candles lit, the Historical Workers Club had such a cosy vibe. You could imagine how many folks had looked forward to their weekends at this place in the 50s and the 60s. We had a real sense of pride to sit with everyone and see all our food on the table. What we saved on dry hire, catering, staff and flowers, we spent on an amazing 5-piece band who played before dinner and got everyone on the dance floor for a couple of hours afterwards. A special thank you to our friends Clint Jasper for filming all the preparations, and to Stephen Scourfield, who captured the day so beautifully, so we have memories forever, and so we could share some of the photographs with you. Until the next one, thank you to all you wonderful people who support us in whichever way you can, and we look forward to seeing you next time.